How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Into the Bengal-Verse podcast. I am your host, Mario, and today we are going to be recapping and discussing the Bengals' 27-24 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Now, before we get started, I just want to tell this quick story. So, every year, me and my friends like to play the win-loss game, or win-loss record game throughout the season. And that can honestly either boost your ego or your confidence, or honestly make you feel a lot worse about your team. And so we were going over that, and then my friends also like to do player rankings before each position group before the season begins. And one of my friends didn't have Burrow in his top 13, I believe. I think he had him at 15, or even honestly like pushing 16, 17. But, what are you going to do? It's okay. Well, he'll become a believer sooner or later. But regardless, so he believes that Kirk Cousins right now is better than Joe Burrow. So I said, let's make a bet. And I'm not one to bet, but I said, let's make a bet. And the bet is excluding injuries. So if there are injuries like that will keep him out for a while, honestly, I'm pretty sure even if they miss a game, the bet's off. But we pretty much said who will have a better year statistically and record-wise. We'll come up with a balance. We'll at the end of the year, if both players are healthy, we'll dig into it. But we made a bet that, at least I made a bet, saying Joe Burrow will have a better statistical year than Kirk Cousins, which I believe he will. It's Joe Burrow versus Kirk Cousins. If you're a Bengals fan, you honestly treat it like a joke, but some people, they still don't believe in him, and that's unfortunate. But we're going to make them believers. We can't hate. We can only make them appreciate. And it's funny because they just so happen to be a Steelers fan, but what are you going to do? So I made that bet. And I also made a bet with this same individual that the Bengals would get more than 6. Like I said, I never bet. Just a couple bets here and there. But I also did bet, like actual bet, that the Bengals will win more than 6.5. That is where Vegas has them. That's where the casinos have them at 6.5. I think they will get more than 6.5. I don't think that they'll be this top 5 project unless everything goes to down the chute. Unless that happens and something super chaotic happens and Zach Taylor just is super inept and just doesn't know how to coach, which we still don't know who he is as a coach yet. We'll see probably throughout the season, given that he has a pretty much healthy roster for the most part and he has his quarterback. So we'll find that out. But I did bet that the Bengals will win more than 6.5. So just a little side story about those bets. So, Bengals Vikings. Before this game, obviously there was cause for concern with the whole Joe Burrow struggling in camp, which I believe that he would shake off that rust, which he did. And before the game, leading up to it, everyone wanted to know, will 3 plays be enough for the guy? And to be honest, those 3 plays really left a sour taste in my mouth because Jamar had a drop, and then there was a personal foul, unnecessary roughness call on Riley Reef, I believe it was. And then they just get sent back, and then Burrow just either hands the ball off or just did a little dink and dunk, and then they just get off the field. And that was it. We weren't going to see him until the regular season, and that sucked. For that to be 3 plays, honestly, I wish he honestly played a couple drives. I understand you got to keep him safe and all that, but I just wish we saw more of him. And the reason being is because week 1, you're going against Minnesota. You're going against your former defensive coordinator, who was with us for many years, and Mike Zimmer, who is easily one of the better defensive coordinators in the league, definitely in the upper echelon of coaches. And he's going to bring all different types of exotic looks, and he's going to find ways to get into your quarterback's head. He's going to find ways to stop the run. He's a very good coach. He's a very good coach, and this was not a scrub team whatsoever. Okay? This was a very hard-fought game, which we will get into it, but I don't believe that the ending needed to be as spectacular as it was. It could have been easily put away in the third quarter. But you know what? We got the win, and that's all that matters. So let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about this run game. Now, as much as I love Joe Mixon, and I just want to see the guy finish a full season, because the last time we truly seen Joe Mixon have a great year was when he led the AFC in rushing, and I'm pretty sure that was the last time we had Pollock, and then he left, and then look where that went. So Pollock's back, the run game's looking back, but here's the thing. I am a little concerned that for most of his runs, these were no easy runs. I pulled up my Instagram, and I saw Nick Chubb run this play. I believe it was his first touchdown of the game, and there was just a wide open gap for him to get that 12-yard touchdown, I believe it was. Just a wide open gap. There really weren't many, and I understand we're running the wide zone scheme, but there just weren't really many gaps for Mixon to hit. Unless he made it outside the tackle and he would get his gains through there wasn't that many open gaps, and it was as if as soon as he would get past our offensive line, people were all over him, and he was just banging and pounding and just earning and chugging through those yards. Now I understand, we're still averaging, 4+ yards a carry, but still. And if you're a Bengals fan and you watch the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. That it didn't. So let me explain this. So he had 127 yards, which is leading. He's the NFL's leading rusher currently, which is, you love to see it. And he had 29 carries, averaging 4.4 yards a carry and 1 touchdown. Those 4.4 yards a carry were very hard-earned carries. This wasn't our offensive line was blowing them back, and we were absolutely just pushing the ball down their freaking throat. That was not the case whatsoever. Joe Mixon had to earn every single yard for the most part that he was given. And I will give credit. I want to say this now. I'll give credit to Xavier Su'a-Filo because he had this absolutely beautiful pull past Riley Reef. I honestly don't remember if both guards pulled, but I just remember he pulled like he was shot out of a freaking cannon, and he just lit up one of the linebackers or corners, but he was just showed his athleticism on that play. Absolutely amazing. You love to see it. So yeah, and Joe Mixon, I believe that if the Bengals use him even more, I believe that he'll be able to show that he's one of the better receiving backs in the league as well. He if you look at Joe Mixon, he has the build of a superstar running back. There's no doubt about that. He has the build, he has the frame, he has the speed. I believe he has the intelligence, he has the hands, if he wants to be a receiving back as well. But it's always been about the pass protection. And it's not that he can't block, because friendly fire, but we didn't know this years ago, he lit up Mike Hilton in a Monday Night Football game one time. Or it was Thursday Night Football or Monday Night Football. But he absolutely lit up Mike Hilton. You can go look it up on YouTube or wherever if you don't believe me. Look up Joe Mixon lighting up Mike Hilton. He can block, but it's just a matter of understanding protections, understanding concepts of defenses and what they're trying to do and where you should be, understanding where your quarterback wants you, what he wants you to do after a certain amount of time, after you're blocking, and then you swing out so you can be that check down back. So yeah, I think Mixon did a decent job for the most part. Pirine, he had a really good year last year. He's been underwhelming this preseason. He's been underwhelming. He was underwhelming in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Evans eventually just replaces him for that number 2 spot, and then let's say Mixon goes down, Pirine will be the number 1, and then Evans stays as that pass catching back. I wouldn't be surprised at that whatsoever. But you have Joe Mixon, and the running backs, when it comes to pass protection, especially this week, they did okay. I mean, I believe Brian Callahan said 2 of the sacks that the team allowed were on the running backs, which you don't want to happen. That's got to get cleaned up, especially given that Burrow only threw for, I believe, it was 27 times. It was 20-something times. I know he did not pass 30, which is, it's about time that we play some balanced football. But for him to get sacked 5 times on that many throws is not acceptable. It's just not. And I'll never forget, man, watching, and I love Trey Hill, but I believe it was Michael Pierce who did it to him. Absolutely just hit him with the meanest swim move right past him. and he honestly didn't even get a hand on him, and Burrow just goes down. And when Burrow looked like he rolled his ankle, hurt his shoulder at the same time, whatever the case may be, oh man, my heart sank for those like 5 minutes. And then you see him on the bike, and he says, I'm good, and the adrenaline kicked in. But still, you don't want to see your quarterback getting hit that much. And I understand your quarterback's going to get hit, but that's no excuse for him to get hit that many times on that many pass attempts. It's just not. We're going to clean it up, though. I'm not worried, but you never want to see that. You just don't. So that's going to do it for the run game. I hope Mixon keeps doing his thing. He's leading the NFL in rushing right now. And, it doesn't necessarily mean Burrow's going to be a game manager, which if you're a game manager, that's a good thing. But we believe, we will score. Burrow will lead the offense. And if it gets to the point where it needs to be a shootout, we know that he will be able to probably get into those shootouts with the best of them if he needs to. But that doesn't mean that we need him throwing 40-plus times a game. We just don't. And that saves his arm for the playoffs or whatever the case may be. So, like I said, that's going to do it for the run game. Now, onto the defense. And before we talk about the defense, yes, I'm wearing Jesse Bates' jersey. I have a lot of Bengals jerseys, past and present. We're going to talk about this defense. And my, oh my, how did this defense look? when we played Pittsburgh last year in Cincinnati, and everyone had us down for the count, and we had no Burrow playing. I don't believe we had Boyd playing. We didn't have Mixon. There were so many players injured at that point, and people had us counted out. And at the beginning of that game, with the whole Juju Smith-Schuster drama, dancing on the logos, and Von Bell said, hey, they've been winning. All we have to, there's nothing more we can do. We just got to play football. We just got to hit them in the mouth. That's all we can do. And Von Bell and that defense set the tone out the gate. That energy is the exact energy that I felt as soon as this game started, and that's the energy I felt and the camaraderie that these players have had all throughout training camp and preseason, and we saw on display week 1. We saw this defense. It's going to be top 20, no doubt in my mind. And you don't want to be top 20. You definitely want to be better than that. I think they will surprise some people. And there were some instances in this game where they looked like a very, very solid defense. And they let up some points, yes, that were inexcusable, and we'll get into that. But this defense looked the part. It looked like a defense that can help you win some games. And it's funny, we wouldn't have been saying this last year or years prior, but the defense was the main reason we won this game. So let's get into this. We have some newcomers on this team. Talked about it in the offseason recap in the previous episode. We got Trey Hendrickson from New Orleans. He's Carl Lawson's replacement. He was out there. And then we have Larry Ogunjobi. Now, let me tell you something about Mr. Ogunjobi. He came from Cleveland and was being used as a nose tackle. And the Bengals could not block him for their life last year. He was always penetrating and getting inside and always blowing stuff up. But that was as a nose tackle. And he even said when he came here that he's here to be that pass rusher, the 3-tech, the Geno Atkins replacement. Would have been nice to see them play together because my oh my. But he is Geno Atkins' replacement, and Larry Ogunjobi is what we lacked last year. And it's funny because all last year the Bengals had no sacks. I believe they had a couple pressures, but I know they had no sacks. No sacks from any of their interior defensive linemen. That is crazy. Picture a team like the Steelers that leads the league in sacks. They've been leading the league in sacks these past 4 years. And we only had 17? 17? That's how many games there are in a year. That's how many games there are this year in the schedule. 17 game season, 17 sacks. That's bad. 17 sacks. So, we get Mr. Ogunjobi. And we make a trade. Yes, we made a trade. We traded Billy Price. Sorry, it had to be done. I'm glad they found some sort of value for Billy because it's just unfortunate. We were going to get Frank Ragnow, and the Lions took him before us. The Bengals panicked. They take Billy. I'll always have love for Billy. I rooted for him his rookie year. He was definitely a hype player for us, trying to help lead this team. Great guy, great locker room person, great teammate. And I wish him nothing but success in New York. But we got B.J. Hill, who's in that same draft class. He was picked in the 3rd round, though, D-tackle. Great backup rotational piece player. And boy, oh boy, did he come to play in this game as well. He had 2 sacks. And these were clean, earned sacks. These were no coverage sacks. And obviously, in order to get a sack, you have to have good coverage and vice versa. Good coverage, you get the sack. You get the pressure, helps out the coverage. So, you have B.J. Hill coming in and rotating. He gets 2 sacks. B.J. Hill gets a sack. Had a couple tackles for a loss. He looked like a man out there. Ogunjobi with that dark visor out there with the armband flexing and screaming, leading the charge up front with Trey and Sam Hubbard and DJ Reader. People don't give DJ Reader enough respect. That dude is a baller. He is so powerful. And this is coming off a torn ACL. This dude is freaking pushing the guards back, penetrating, and he's just holding them there in place, and he's dictating which way he wants to go and which way he wants the guards to be. And he's taking on double teams. And that is freeing up so much for all the other players and our front 7 to go out there and make a play. And that's why Dalvin Cook had less than 100 total yards. Because of players like DJ Reader, who are very vital to this defense. You need players like that to be on their A game. And boy, oh boy, did DJ Reader have a game. And you know what? He was one of our highest rated players, according to PFF. 75.8. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. You'll take that. You will take that for the very first game of the season coming off a torn ACL. You will take that from DJ Reader. We need players like him to stay healthy. And like I said, knock on wood, you hate injuries, but they're part of the game, so you never know. Players like Trey Hendrickson, who did his thing. Once again, we'll see if he's worth it this year for the contract-wise. But so far, great assets to the locker room, great assets to the D-line. Our D-line coach, Miran Hobby, loves the pieces he has to work with guys like Trey Hendrickson. And, man, I will never forget. So, Lou Anarumo likes to run this scheme where on certain plays he likes to drop defensive ends or D-tackles on certain plays back in coverage. And Trey Hendrickson went back in coverage, and Dalvin Cook swung out to be a check down. And Trey Hendrickson, if this is Dalvin swinging out, Trey Hendrickson came and he said, "No, you are not catching that ball." Dalvin did not catch that ball. I was honestly surprised that Trey Hendrickson was able to. I know it was only a check down and just a swim, but the fact that Trey Hendrickson was able to get there, he noticed it, he saw where he had to be. That's just great awareness. You love to see stuff like that. This defensive line played a huge, huge role in this game. I am very excited. The training camp reports. It wasn't just training camp. Every year we hear about this D line doing their thing, and it just turns out that the offensive line is really bad. Now I genuinely think that the offensive line's gotten better, and I think the defensive line has gotten significantly better as well. So hats off to those guys up front. I love the boys up there in the trenches. Gotta respect their game, and they're the reason why you can win games. It all starts with the trenches, whether you like it or not. So that's going to do it for the defensive line. Linebackers, Jermaine Pratt, hats off to him. Game-saving strip on Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, who I had on fantasy, still won. Can't complain, So I'm not going to be too mad about his fumble. But, man, when it got into overtime and it got to that point in the game where they were just moving the ball. We didn't convert when we got the ball and we didn't even convert. I hate when that happens in overtime because it just gets scary. And then it just came to a point where we thought they were just going to run the ball and kick a field goal, and that was going to be it. And Jermaine Pratt, he came to play, and he did good for the most part all game. He's a guy going into his 3rd year who we really need to step up. We hope that he's a guy. We hope that we don't have to replace him because I actually personally like Jermaine Pratt. And then you have Logan Wilson, who, going into year 2, is expected to take a leap, and he's looking good so far. But not many people are talking about him enough. My favorite of the linebacking core is Akeem Davis-Gaither, ADG. He looks like a military Swiss Army knife. He he looks the part. He looks the part. He's fast. I truly believe he'll be able to fly around. And he got his hands on the ball a couple times. I remember him batting down a ball that he almost picked off once. But I believe he has the tools to eventually play even more snaps than he does already. So the linebackers, they were flying around. They were looking good. Having Von Bell in the box, oh my. Boy, does that help. I love our safeties. I really like this defense. The defense is finally giving me something to be excited about. And don't get me started about Mike Hilton because he's a dog. I said it in the previous episode. I love me some Mike Hilton. If you saw him coming off, like he could freaking time the snap off the edge as a corner like he's at defensive end. Not many corners can really do that. I mean, I know Jamal Adams is a guy that can do that. Maybe Tyrann Mathieu. But Mike Hilton, very, very underrated player in this league. And like I said, he's a dude. He can play. And he was pressuring Kirk. He was making tackles in the backfield. He blew up a screen once. I remember seeing it. So glad we have Mike Hilton. And I'm glad we don't have to go against him twice a year. He's so great for us. You guys just don't understand. Then you have Chidobe Awuzie going against Justin Jefferson. I forget their third receiver's name. Excuse me for that. But Chidobe Awuzie going against Justin Jefferson all game. And Justin Jefferson didn't even get 100 yards. The dude was top 5 in receiving yards last year. And he didn't even have 100 this game. And we know it's a long year. But, man, Chidobe Awuzie, I said it in the last episode. He looked the part. He played the part in training camp. And so far, one game, looked and played the part as a number 1 corner. Trey Waynes is getting paid like the number 1. But I think we all know after that game and after what we've seen and heard that Chidobe is our number 1 corner. So, hats off to you, Cheeto. Keep doing your thing, boss. Eli Apple. Now, I have some mixed thoughts on Eli Apple because, yes, it was frustrating. That one drive was brutal. That one drive he had. 3rd and 24. Misses a tackle. When all he has to do is just push the guy out of bounds. Misses the tackle. And then, very next play, gets a defensive holding. And then the very next play after that, he lets up a touchdown. Just an absolute brutal drive. But I will say this. Other than that one drive, how much did you really hear about Eli Apple? Think about it. I know you want to slander him for us even being in a bad position. I get that. Because it frustrated the heck out of me too. But it wasn't as bad as we all thought. I thought the secondary still did good. Jesse Bates, my guy. He was out there helping lead the defense, and I don't really recall him getting targeted all that much because he's in a contract year. He's playing pissed off. He laid the boom on some guys this game. But honestly, you didn't really see Kirk try and target him or throw near him, and that's a good thing. It's one thing if Jesse Bates is getting targeted and he's making plays on the ball, but for the quarterback to completely not want to throw near or at you, that says a lot. That says a lot, and that's a good thing because then other players will be allowed to eat and will be able to help scheme against offenses, and things will be much easier and fluid on the defensive side of the ball. And then I've said this about Von Bell before, great in the box safety, and he's gotten way better at coverage. He was flying around, also laying the boom. This defense was looking hungry. It was looking aggressive. It was looking like it had something to prove. And I understand exactly why this defense was frustrated. And honestly, even the team, when it came to that 4th and 1 call on our own 29, for those of you who don't know and are here just to listen to a Bengals point of view, or for Bengals fans, you know what I'm talking about. It was 4th and 1. We were on our own 29. And Zach Taylor cues up a run, and he even admitted it. It could have been a better play call, but if he got it, I would have been so happy. But I'm not going to hate on the play call. I'm not going to be bipolar about this or take back what I said. I was happy, but we don't go for it. I said, heck yeah, let's do it. Let's run it down the throw or whatever the case may be. Let's get this, put him away. We were up 14. Joe Mixon slips. We don't get it. Very next play. It was either 3 plays later, but it was pretty much very next few minutes. It's 4th down, and Adam Thielen hits Mike Hilton with a slant, and it was on a cover 0, and Adam Thielen's one of the best receivers in the league. And Mike Hilton, as great as he is, he's not the best coverage player. And it's hard, honestly, for corners in general to win one-on-one matchups. But still, Adam Thielen versus Mike Hilton, that's not really a good matchup. But even then, Thielen, gets the inside leverage and he goes and gets a touchdown, and then we're only up 7 at that point. I understand. I'd be frustrated too if I was the defense, because if we punted it, yes, they could go down and score, but they were still playing hungry, and I respect Zach Taylor for having the confidence in his defense, but you just can't put him in a bad position like that. You just can't. Like, if you're gonna go for it on fourth, like, you gotta call up a better play. And I understand you have the confidence to run, but they were ready for it. We took our time when it came to snapping the ball. Excuse me, and starting up the play. So gotta have a better play call there if you're gonna actually go for it. So I understand why Jesse was absolutely frustrated, especially being a captain now, being a guy in a contract year. You don't want to be put in that position as a defense, because they can use that as leverage. However they work on the negotiation process, whoever it is that's offering him the contract could say, look, like, you let up a touchdown here, like, why is that? And you don't want to sound like, a jerk, but you say, look, you were the one that put us in this position. You should have just punted the ball. Let us have way more field to work with. Like, that was messed up. You put us in a worse off situation by going for it on 4th and 1 on your own 29. And you know what? I can't be mad at him for being upset. I can't be mad at any of the defense for being upset with that, because like I said, I'd be up. You're up 14 and you go for it on your own 29-yard line. That's something out of Madden. That's something out of Madden if you're playing with friends. But like I said, Zach Taylor said, we are going to be aggressive this year. We are going to be enforcers this year. We are going to be a team that has the cojones to go for it. Simple as that. So, do what you will with that. We're still learning about Zach Taylor, even though it's year 3, but he finally has his guys for the most part, and we are going to see what this team's about. And, we lost the momentum, and then it came down to the fourth quarter, and they tie up the game, and then we go into overtime. We get the ball, and we pretty much don't do anything with it, and then they get the ball, and then they don't do anything with it. And it's pretty much like that overtime back and forth. And then, man, oh man, when they started driving and Dalvin Cook fumbled that ball. Listen, if I was a Vikings fan, I understand. I would be pissed too. I'd be saying, oh, Dalvin, like, he didn't fumble, like, his butt was down first before the ball came out. I understand that. Honestly, it can go either way. It was one of those ugly situations where, unless it's super, super obvious, and yeah, it did look like the butt hit for the ground first and then the ball came out, but it wasn't as obvious in real time and through the frames as you would have thought. So, at the end of the day, we got the ball back, and this is what I love. And it was one of the most gutsiest calls and things I've seen in my Bengals watching history. And 4th and 1. It was honestly 4th and inches, but it was 4th and 1. And Joe Burrow calls this audible at the line. And supposedly they run this play all the time, or a lot, and it's never gone to CJ. And he calls this audible, and CJ, you see him come and crack a linebacker, and he goes up, runs pretty much this fade towards the sideline. And he catches it. Bro just lobs it in. It wasn't a bullet pass. He just lobs it in there. CJ catches it. He's running. The crowd's going nuts. We get in position. And Evan McPherson, Money Mick, freaking Money Mac, whatever you want to call him. He is a dude. He's our kicker for the next 10 years. Very first game. Says it when he gets drafted that he's never hit a game winner. In his very first game, he not only doesn't miss a single kick, but he hits a game winner. And it was from extra point distance, so it was as if it was nothing to him. And once again, he wears a heart rate monitor. One of those smartwatches, he tracks his heart rate, keeps cool before and after kicks, likes to take deep breaths, stay cool, calm, cool, and composed, which I love. Never really see any kickers or hear about any kickers doing that. And Bengals go 1-0. And, it was a dogfight. If you didn't watch the game, go back and look at the highlights. It was an absolute dogfight, and hats off to both teams because the Vikings are no scrubs, but I don't think we are this year. And you know what? That game was huge because, like I said, it goes towards the bet, and a lot of people didn't have us winning this game. And I think, other than some play calling, which I think that they will get cleaned up, this team's looking good so far. The offense was looking good. Burrow was looking good. So, man, I'm just still thinking about it. Like, if you honestly watch that game, like, it was just such a blur. And I didn't even bring this up because I was wearing the man's jersey yesterday. Jamar Chase. Gotta save my favorite thing for last. Him and Burrow. Not only was Burrow efficient in his first game back, throwing 2 touchdowns, he had a 128 passer rating, 20 for 27 passing, and he could have had a third if he didn't miss Mike Thomas. But you know what? Hey, we're not going to complain. Jamar Chase comes into this game with the whole world staring at him, magnifying glass on him, and everyone's saying, oh, he can't catch. All these meme accounts are making fun of him, which was annoying me. And boy, oh boy, I didn't hear nothing. I heard crickets in my backyard after this game from those guys. Because Jamar Chase not only went 5 for 5 catching the ball, he had 101 yards, which is top 10 in the league right now, and a touchdown. And not only was it a touchdown, it was stride for stride. It appeared to be the exact touchdown where he ran past A.J. Terrell in the championship game against Clemson. Right down the sideline, looked just like it. Burrow throws the Chase down the sideline, and it was in LSU made such a dope edit comparing both plays, and literally it looks like the same thing. Burrow motions or fakes it to the running back, looks to the sideline and throws it. Like, it looked the exact same, and it was honestly so amazing. The crowd absolutely erupted. Chase is doing the gritty before Justin Jefferson, who didn't get to do the gritty. He almost got a chance to. He was so close, but you know what? Justin Jefferson didn't do the gritty. And honestly, I would love to have him in our team after his contract expires if he wants to come play with his Bayou brothers, but Chase is doing the gritty. Everyone's going crazy. Man, what a game. What a game. Hats off to Jamar Chase. First game, many more to come of him being our ex-guy, our go-get-it guy. Man, first game, and he breaks the Bengals rookie receiving yards in a game record. Just awesome. Man, honestly, if you're a fan of Chase in general, or you're a Bengals fan watching that game, like, it was just so awesome to see him absolutely go off and have that confidence, which he always had. He never lacked it. So, we covered the offense. We covered the defense. Now, before we wrap things up, let's go over the PFF scores. Mixon with an 80.6. He was number 1 on the team. Quentin Spain, number 2, 79.7. Hats off to Spain. I'll always have love for him. Jamar with a 77.9. Very, very solid for his first game. T. Higgins also did great, and he broke, I believe it was Breeland's ankles, and he kept getting hurt, this guy Breeland. I feel like every time a Bengals receiver caught something on him, he was always getting hurt, going off to the sideline and coming back and getting hurt again. T. Higgins absolutely broke, I believe it was his ankles. He broke someone's ankles, whether it was Breeland or not. I think it was Breeland. So Higgins gets a 76.6, and he looked apart. He also had a touchdown. I love that strut he had when he got that touchdown, and then DJ Reader, who I brought up, 75.8. Hey, look, this Bengals team, it's competitive, it's hungry. I can't promise you that they're going to win every game as much as we would love that to happen. But they're going to be fighting. They're going to be close in these games. I don't know how they're going to play against teams like the Steelers, who we still need to see more of their offense, or the Ravens, and they played a hard-fought game against Vegas last night, man. I really hope Derek Carr is a seasoned vet, but I really hope that Burrow knows how to pick up these blitzes now, because some of these Minnesota blitzes they got to Burrow a couple times. They did, and I don't want Burrow getting lit up by the Steelers or the Ravens. I want him to be confident, know what he's doing, and be able to drop 25 plus on those teams' heads. So we get a taste of the Steelers after this week. I will be giving you guys a Chicago Bears preview, matchup wise, this week before the game. So yeah, we are now heading towards the thick of things. We're going to get into this rhythm. where I preview a game, the matchups, and then I do a post game, and then we talk midweek about certain thoughts and whatever questions you may have. Hopefully, we get this thing going, and you guys message me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be, and we could do a little Q&A where I give my thoughts and opinions on certain questions that you guys may have. But that's gonna do it for the Bengals Vikings game recap. Very excited to finally do my first recap for a Bengals game. This was fun. I'm glad that I can be doing this for you guys. Can't wait to be doing more of these. Hope you all have a great day, morning or night, whenever you're watching this. And once again, this is the Into the Bengal-Verse podcast. I am your host, Mario, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Very important in order to build this platform and to have it head towards the direction in which we want it to head towards. So once again, thank you all for listening, watching, whichever. But yeah, everyone have a great day, and hooday.